Libra, hi. So this is going to be a reading for December 29th through January 4th. And I'll take a look into your recent past, your current energies, and your immediate future. And then I'll close it off with a couple of cards from the universe for you. And these are general readings, so they may not resonate for all of you. If they do, there is an extended. At the end of the video, you can check out the link for that in the description box below if you want. Let's see, Libra. Oi. The overall energy for the reading, the Page of Pentacles. Well, that's encouraging because that's an energy where you're telling me, hey, I'm learning something from this experience. So good. Good. Because in the recent past, the Death card, the Ace of Wands, the Ten of Swords. Somebody wants to bring something down. Somebody wants to... That's it. We're done here. I'll go that way. You go that way. Good to go. Bye. I'm not sure if it's you or somebody that you're dealing with. And it could be just about anything. You know, it could be a dynamic you have with someone. It could be a job. It could be something. So I don't know. Anything. In the current situation, the Three of Cups, the Queen of Wands, the Five of Wands. Oh, man, it's like negotiating terms or something. There's good energy in there, and then it kind of tanks, and then it's like, okay, so we agreed on this, yes, but you know, so there's a little bit of that going on here. You're coming in here with quite open to kind of reach a middle ground. I think whoever is at the end of this wants the same thing, but it still kind of shows up a little bit in waves where it's like, okay, you finally figured things out, and then it's like, but anyways, in the immediate future, the Wheel of Fortune, the Seven of Wands, the King of Cups. Okay, well, I think there's still going to be a little bit of changing of minds or changing of things along the way. There's definitely a change coming in that looks to be for the better. It's looking like a good change, but you do have some resistance to it just for the fact that it's a change. And it's like, I'm already going kind of up and down in waves here, and then, you know, things are changing. And even if you do acknowledge that, hey, it's a good change, it's still feeling a little, you know. Okay, let's clarify. Let's see what's going on here. Let me do the Page of Pentacles. For the Page of Pentacles, you get the Seven of Wands, the Star, the King of Swords. Alrighty. That's where the lesson is, in your resistance to something here. Something that's kind of being put together, maybe as we speak. Apparently it's something that you want, but there's still a little bit of you in the way of that, a little bit of your resistance to it, a little bit of, oh, this doesn't feel great, you know. But it's not the change that's going to happen that doesn't feel great. It's the process. It's the actual, things are changing right now. You're in the middle of this change going on. Not the end result. The end result, I think you do want, because you're showing up here. Yeah, that's what I want. But then, again, before you go there, the journey to that end result, that's where things are getting a little, man, this doesn't feel good. Oh, this feels uncomfortable, and it's quite natural, I would say. But you do carry the Page of Pentacles over that, which again is signifying to me that you could actually be quite aware that at times you're the one that's resisting this. But let's do the Death card in the recent past. Oh man, what the hell happened here? The Ten of Swords, the Tower, the Nine of Cups. Yeah, something's going down. So there's no question about it. There's like, yeah, that's what I want. You know, so whoever this is showing up as, I want this down. I want this to be taken down. And then they're showing up happy that it is being taken down. But it is a drastic type of a, it's like if it was here today, by tomorrow it's down here, you know, it's done. It's not necessarily showing up as sudden. It doesn't feel like it was, you know, a surprise or sudden or nobody saw this coming. Not necessarily. It's just the way it's showing up, the way it's kind of coming into the picture. You know, from an energetic standpoint, I don't think this was sudden or unexpected. From how it's playing out, it's looking to be tanking almost overnight. Let's do the Ace of Wands, the Empress, the Strength card, the Hangman. And I think you're the one, if this is your energy, you're the one that's making this happen. And you're not rushing, you're not, again, it doesn't feel like it's rushed. It doesn't feel like, even though it shows up as when it happens, it just drops. It doesn't feel like it's intentional, like that's how I want it to just drop, you know? Because from an energetic standpoint, you're sitting still with this process. It's like you're letting it unfold. If it wants to unfold like that, I'm with it. If it wants to take a week, 2 weeks, 2 months, I'm with it, you know? So you're kind of going with the flow, which is taking a lot out of you, but you're still doing it, you know? You're still kind of with everything as it unfolds. But I think you're the one that's bringing this somehow to fruition. For the 10 of Swords, you get the 8 of Swords, the Devil, the Queen of Swords. Ooh, there's been a lot of overthinking in the background of this. There's been probably a lot of, how do I do this? What's going to happen next? You know, there's a lot of unhealthy energy in that too, in the sense of maybe just the overthinking aspect of it in itself is the unhealthy part. Because it's creating just a lot of stress and a lot of kind of low vibration energy, basically. So that in itself could be, hey, you know, this is not great. And I think this is, again, energetically you're showing up right. Physically, you're showing up more in that energy of stress about it. So maybe you're thinking on how to bring this to fruition, how to kind of get going with things here. I have a feeling that the universe kind of took charge at some point. I don't know how much of what I see there was your intentional creation. I think it's half and half. Where your intentional creation could have come from the stressing of it, the when, how, if, you know. And then I see a big chunk of that process, kind of the whole thing dropping. I see kind of the universe having a hand in that. Okay, let me do the 3 of Cups, the 5 of Wands, the Page of Pentacles, the Page of Swords. Yeah, with the 5 of Wands keeping being introduced here, I almost get a sense of, I think you're not necessarily butting heads, even though ultimately you are, but I think it's a negotiating terms of some sort. Like we're trying to figure stuff out and we're not reaching a common ground, even though it's there, but we keep on kind of getting to it and then getting away from it and then getting to it and then, so it's almost feeling like, because the way you approach this 5 of Wands energy, which usually means conflict, is quite calm and quite, you know, composed. Like let's figure it out type of a deal. That's why to me it feels like it's, I think, more than just fighting with anyone here. I think you're trying to reach a common ground, which could get there through, you know, disagreements and then agreements too, because it's wavy, it's up and down. It's like there's good stuff about it and then there's still the bumping of heads. Let's do the Queen of Wands. You get the Knight of Cups, the Ace of Pentacles, the 5 of Cups. It's such a interesting combo of energies here, because while you're trying to approach this from a pretty gentle, open, loving space, there's the almost the grieving aspect of it too playing out at the same time. So there's a combo of energies here. Yeah, you're trying to stay open, but at the same time something possibly sad is at play too. So it's interesting. The blend in there is interesting, but you're doing it by the looks of it. For the 5 of Wands, you get, in the current situation, you get the King of Pentacles, the King of Cups, the 9 of Pentacles. Yeah, the end result is definitely let's meet halfway, you know, of this negotiation or whatever's going on here. And from an energetic standpoint, it's kind of looking like you're already there. Like it's happening, it's there, it's in play. You just got to reach it physically as well. But it's already kind of in place. It's like, yeah, that's the common ground. Are we going to reach it eventually? I think eventually, yes, because energetically speaking, it's here already. You have, you know? So, okay. Let me do the Wheel of Fortune in the immediate future. Cosmo is a character, man. What the hell is she doing? For the Wheel of Fortune in the immediate future, you get the Wheel of Fortune again, the Ace of Wands, the Hierophant. Yeah, I think things are going to get into a place of probably better than expected, or again, based off of the energy I'm seeing here of agreement, ultimately, I think they're going to get there and beyond, in the sense of I think it's going to get better than you think. There's still a little bit of you in the way of that, in the sense of resistance to things, and it could be because of this blend that I'm seeing here. If this is one of those, hey, let's reach a common ground, that means compromise on both ends. That means that you're not going to get everything that you want out of this. They're not going to get everything that they want of this. So there's a loss aspect to things too. So I think that's playing out too, and I think that's your resistance here. Even though things may turn out better than you think, it's still not fulfilling everything that you wanted to begin with. You know what I mean? So interesting. For the Seven of Wands in the immediate future, you get the Two of Cups, the Six of Wands, the Eight of Pentacles. But I think you're also setting up quite the boundaries here as you go. Because if you did reach that middle ground, it's going to be sustained by implementing some boundaries around it too. Yours and theirs. And I do see you here putting up those boundaries, but I see you having a hard time keeping up with them. Like even like if you say, hey, I'm not going to go into that room, I almost see you struggling to not go into that room, you know? So even though it's coming from you, this rule or whatever boundary this is, you're the one having a hard time keeping up with it. So it's one of those kind of adjusting to the middle ground that was found, you know? For the King of Cups in the immediate future, you get the Hermit, the Queen of Wands, the Nine of Wands. Yeah, it's not going to be easy, but it's not going to be super hard, because I do see you hanging on to more of the open energy and more of the positive energies around it, rather than the ones that are bringing you into, again, the loss of this, the whatever's going on here. So you're going to have those times in which you're going to feel, ooh, this sucks. But 80% of the time through this journey, it feels like you acknowledge that, hey, this is a good change. This is heading in a good place. This is good for me, and I believe for everybody involved. So you're more focused on those energies rather than the one that bring you down. So I think it's a good outcome overall. It's a matter of how you're going to navigate through it. And I do see you being quite balanced, quite, you know, with it as it flows. Let me see what the universe has as a final advice for you. The Nine of Pentacles, the Ten of Pentacles, the Six of Cups. Yeah, it's definitely in regards to a soul connection that's really close to home for you. So it's really close to you. So you're establishing something when it comes to this dynamic. And through that, I think things are changing for this dynamic. And you feel quite confident overall in your energy, even though it's kind of wavy right now, the experience itself. But you feel pretty steady. And as long as you keep that type of an energy as you navigate through all of this, you should be fine at the end of it, given that the energies are kind of starting to go up and up and up more. So anyways, that's what I have for you. Hope this helped, and I'll see you next time. Bye.